Sweet.
I'll just make some calls, mind you. Do it now.
Easy. Man.
Cool.
Okay,
Right,
so
we're rolling.
yeah, we're sitting down. What are we? We're Platform After Dark today. We're lying about that. Sitting here with Cwither and DJ. How's your guys' days been?
Pretty solid.
Not terrible.
Scoped out a venue, you
Nice.
know. Read a little bit of a book, very interesting book. So you know, it's always good. Other than that, play a little bit of Terraria. Yeah.
Nice. Is that like? I never actually explored that, but that's like
Neither.
knockoff Minecraft, right?
It's-
in 2D.
It's like Minecraft in 2D, but like way more content.
Way better.
what do you mean more content?
There's raid bosses, there's end game,
That's kinda
like
cool.
heaps of armor. You know
Fair.
what I mean? I never really heavily got into it, but my sister's been like forcing me to play it because they just officially like released it.
Oh,
it's been
true.
in like early access phase. So
have you guys ever heard of Dwarf Fortress?
Yes, I love that game, bro.
It's
Haven't
been in
played
early
it, but-
access since it was released. It's
Yeah,
never
but
going to
think
hit
about-
version 1.
Yeah, but think about how difficult a game like that is to actually like hone in, because that's the most comprehensive game that is as close to like D&D, I guess you could say. Like you can kind of do anything, and they
guess.
have their own stories and everything. I looked into it, but it's a very strong learning curve. So
Yeah, I've never made it past the first bit, which is you've got a dwarf.
I've dug a hole in a mountain, bro, and that is all I've done.
Gotten further than me, yeah. I'm one of those spoiled kids. I played GTA when it was 2D once, and then everything became 3D from that point on,
Yep.
and it had instructions or cheat codes or the internet existed.
Yeah, exactly. Walkthroughs and whatnot.
Yeah, oh my god. I used to real froth RuneScape.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't give a shit about any of the other tasks. It was like, I'm just going to go quest every
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
day, go
My
and
mates
do
were
all
heavy
of them.
into that, eh?
Yeah, it's transferred to my real life. I can't help but just be like,
Grind.
where is the quest? Where is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking thing to explore?
I really appreciate the grind of RuneScape, you know,
Yeah?
because I play WoW, and
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
like
You'd have
RuneScape
to
without
appreciate
the grind.
What do you mean without the
There's
grind? Isn't it like
there's
only grind?
but not to the extent of RuneScape. Like RuneScape is like the whole. You're not trying to progress through levels. You're trying to progress your skills, and like you know, like to become a mean wood chopper. That's a skill, eh? Like you have to chop trees and sit there for 3 hours every day, just clicking that tree. You know.
Fuck, oh, this is giving me some mad nostalgia. You
Yeah.
rock up to the tree spot, you see all the homies there, you go,
Hard,
oh my
hard.
god, you're here still.
Yeah, we're grinding like.
I think the RuneScape ended for me when someone introduced me to the concept of botting. And then I realised, like, oh, I don't have
There's
to,
no
like,
point,
grind
yeah.
to get all these fucking things. I can just set something to go in mine rune
Yeah,
essence
exactly.
and then be done with it.
The easy way, you know.
Yeah, even just, like, growing up from, like, going from primary school to intermediate, getting a debit card and then starting to buy, like, RuneScape gold and shit.
Yeah.
Really changed the game. Tried to tell someone that I was, like, over 18 once, but I real fucked up. I was like, yeah, I'm 19 buying this for my son. He's turning 12. And the guy's like, so you were 7 when you had this kid?
What?
It's like
you
all
went
things
through
just to
puberty
try and
quick,
pretend
like-
like I'm not a kid. Like,
Yeah.
always been a kid. Now I own it way more. I'm like gonna be 30 one day and still be the kid.
Yeah, bro,
And,
you
like,
need that. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you stop learning when, you know, you need to learn, bro. And, like, you know, being a kid is taking risks. Like, not giving a fuck. Oh, we're allowed to.
Very
Yeah, we can do
Okay.
whatever the fuck we want.
Oh,
Very
sounds sweet.
interesting question.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on 5G?
Yeah, here we are.
Something to say about that.
Talking about those real issues.
Okay. You want to get into 5G, do you? So, fuck 5G. That's the big one. So, like, I'm a tech person, and
What are your thoughts behind Bill Gates and 5G? Him with all the vaccines.
I don't follow the news enough to actually know what Bill Gates is doing. I follow
He's
hacker
in New
news.
Zealand
Is he?
with vaccines.
Fuck you, Bill Gates. Come to my house.
Yeah, hard.
1 ounce. Fuck you.
Surely
Uh,
invest.
But yeah, 5G is one where like I'm willing to like beat up other tech people about it,
that's
because it's one of those things where like everyone else is passing the burden of responsibility on. Government's saying, oh, the tech people will think about it. The tech people are going, oh, the regulatory people will think about it, and the regulatory people aren't thinking about it.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're going, oh, the fucking tech people, and it's like no one's clear on who's responsible for this. I'm pissed off that we're a testing ground.
Exactly, we always have been, bro.
yeah.
It kind of
It's
weirds
it's
me out.
recycled
Like,
in
have
tech.
you seen
They'll
like
tell you like New Zealand, yeah, the place where we test things.
exactly like first to get gigabit?
Yep.
But I'm really conflicted about being the guinea pig because it feels staged to me. Like if you
It
know what I
is
mean,
staged.
like we don't have really the COVID problem at the moment, and that just freaks me out. Like why is it us that always have our shit together? Because
Well,
I
we
feel like
don't.
we're a target because of that. if
We
you know what
actually
I mean.
don't have our shit together.
I know,
That's
but
step
you know
one,
what?
is
Why
like-
are we seen as the ones that have our shit together?
Oh, because this is where all the billionaires come to
I
hide.
know, and it's like, why are we the target, bro? Because if you're thinking
It's
about
because
it,
we're paradise. Like, this is the other thing. We are 100% going to be like United Nations, but actual like United Nations. New Zealand's going to stop being a country on its own
Yeah,
and become a place where all walks of life come to talk about life. But back on 5G. So 5G is fucked in terms of the things I've seen around what it's causing in terms of environmental issues.
Insects and-
So yeah, birds, bees, insects, anything that's like simple life that we don't have a way to protect them in the eyes of the law is getting fucked over. And
Yeah.
like, whenever it comes back to bees and people are like, oh, we can live without the bees, it's like, did no one watch the fucking bee movie?
Hard.
Like,
Yeah.
that thing told us straight to
but
fucking
also
facts.
just don't like underestimate the power of like an insect, because you know, I don't kill anything because I'm Buddhist, you know what I mean? And like, so I respect the life of an insect as it is equal to my own.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I feel like people need to have that, like an insect does have a consciousness.
Yep.
Like that has been proved.
We need rights of consciousness, not rights of people, because
Yeah.
like companies are given the rights of people.
Exactly,
They have
and
no
they're-
consciousness.
They don't exist.
Yeah, they're a fake
Yet
entity.
you're taking away rights of conscious animals.
Yeah.
They're not self-conscious, but they're conscious.
The
you know what I mean?
company can kill a tree and doesn't have to really pay anyone for it, or
Yeah.
even have the like thing of like, here's rules and regulations, here's a
Exactly.
process, here's a thing to say, yep, the person whose granddad that is happy for you to do that as long as you
So, yeah.
replant somewhere.
Also, yeah, it's just like understanding that the tree is also equal to you.
Or even greater,
important.
like
Yeah,
like
they've
one
been
tree
there
is
longer
worth
than you.
100 people as far
Like
as I'm
think
concerned.
about mushrooms.
I
You know
love
what I
to
mean?
Think about
how
mushrooms.
long those have been around and the disrespect that some people apply to them. You know, like they don't understand that we came from fungi.
Yep.
Everything came from fungi. Like I think it's a lot of things. I'm pretty sure they've been around some of the longest. They have like
They're extraterrestrial too.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
fungi came from a like outer space collision.
yeah, exactly.
I want to finish 5G before we go too far. So,
Is there anywhere I can blow my nose before you finish watching?
yeah, you can. There's some paper towels and stuff in there.
Sweet.
And also, like, don't worry about being like professional, like clean and shit. Like,
Yeah.
like just come in here and
It's natural. Yeah, it's natural.
yeah. Like, I fucking love it. Like, Nico's interview, he came in and went, "G'day, I'm Nico."
I've been smoking a spliff and yeah. I love
It's
that.
been
bro.
raining for about
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Hacker News is one of the greatest low signal to noise ratio things for news.
Yeah.
So that's where I first saw the thing about 5G come through.
I'm a bit blind,
It's alright, bro. It's paralysis of seeing things. Oh, I think I've run out. That's
Makes sense.
why I have low key.
No, I'm safe.
I'll just put it in the wash.
No, fuck, I'm straight.
Sure, like legit, there's things we can do. Where you can go upstairs to the toilet and grab some tissue paper.
I think I'll be right.
Always ready to help. So yeah, Hacker News is
Fuck Bill Gates.
Hacker News is one of the best things for getting tech news like 3 weeks in advance before Facebook gets it. So if I tell you I've seen something online, I'm telling you I've seen it on a reputable source with
Yep,
low
yep.
signal to noise ratio. It showed up on Hacker News as like, this is like mid last year. It just was like big warning sign like UK birds and bee population found dead in mass swarms,
Around,
just like on the ground by 5G towers. I mean, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Kept it in the back of my head, just kept recycling it, being like, if anyone comes to me about 5G, this is my point of knowledge. Then it came up again recently in a different context. They've shown through a research paper that bees find the flowers that they need to find based on the electromagnetic
Yeah, they see an
vibration.
ultraviolet, like
Wow.
purple, whatever, eh?
Even
The
beyond
5G
that,
towers
they
end up in a
actually
different
see
one?
like like an
Interfere,
electric
yeah.
vibration, like a radio frequency coming from all these.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the 5G tower is just too
Eventually-
much data.
Eventually, if we populated the world with 5G towers, ocean life would get affected. right?
And that's the
Affected
problem I
because of
have
whales.
with
They run off.
Potentially
What are they
not.
wrong?
Water is one of the best things for getting
Oh,
rid
'cause
of
it can't
things.
hold, yeah.
Yeah, it
And
just
especially
fucks up the
like
refraction.
whales because they're so low. When they beach, that's when it'd be, and that's probably why some would beach as well.
Even before that, though, we have to put a line in the sand now with technologies like this. You can't just keep saturating the fucking invisible frequencies because they're invisible.
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
as cutting down a tree and not signing off on it.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about this today. If I walk down the street and I've got my Bluetooth headphones on with my phone in my pocket and my like PayWave card in my other pocket, my phone is emitting a field of its own in a couple different frequencies.
Yeah.
All of the Wi-Fi, like right now we are saturated in the Wi-Fi
invisible
signals.
frequencies, yeah.
And when I'm walking with Bluetooth, my headphones and my phone create a Bluetooth bubble around me.
Yeah.
And that's actually quite a big bubble. Like that's like a 25-meter bubble that
Yeah,
moves
exactly.
with me throughout space and time. But also power lines. This is one that is personal for me. So do you guys know Holloway Road in Ara Valley? Basically, it's a road that, for me, is full of crazy people. I was one of them.
Wait, and all power lines just like run like from at least like 10-meter poles, and then they all stretch over the streets.
Yeah,
I've been to a place similar.
Yeah, so this is part of where Wellington gets fucked over. We were designed in the 1800s without anyone having set foot in Wellington who did the design. They got here, realized
right.
there's like hills and
Hills.
like things here, and they go, oh shit, our fucking city design doesn't work anymore. Let's just squish it over everything. So that's why you get these tiny little fucking roads, and they built them when
With
there's only a horse
buses
and
going
carts.
down them.
Yeah, and people parked either side, and it's like, so we built all this stuff in the 1800s, but we also put in protections in place, so you can't just like destroy it all and rebuild it for something that fits the current
Yeah,
system.
and I find it weird that like, why doesn't the government pay somebody big money to understand and like run, it fixes everything. Everybody's got to get to work. They've got to get to work, and if people can get there an hour early, they can sleep longer and therefore be more productive. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, we've gone with the bus route, but why don't we go with like trains or something, bro? Like perfecting like a train that isn't affected by earthquakes and not having it on the coast.
Like
having it
Hyperloop
run
style.
over hills or through hills, you know, actually like perfecting a technology like monorails, for example, that are just so structurally sound that we can feel safe and they don't move. They're all like locked in. It's one unit, you know what I mean? You can't move a train off. It's one unit, you know what I mean?
Even in some way, cars, like having a setup where cars all join together to form a train and then move collectively, pull each other, share resources.
Yeah,
I'm
why-
just gonna fuck something up. Isn't that the way? Can you guys talk on your mic quickly?
Yo, yo, yo.
Okay, we are still good, but gain went down or something? Hold on. I don't know why it fucks out like this. Say something again. Direct into it.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, no. So our dryer's in the mix as well. I forgot that was on. I'll just go grab Tino to make sure.
I can create a gate if you want so you can't hear the...
I might just turn it off.
How do you feel, DJ?
I think it's time to speak about some real shit.
Is it 5G or some real shit?
No, like some real shit. You know what I mean? There's plenty of real shit out there.
For real.
It has the people, and it showed, they told us exactly who's coming. You can quickly do a Facebook, stalk and all that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
What I think is what? Creative HQ would be better for me, but that's if Joaquin is
Fucking
gonna
the
open
man
the door again.
in
Like,
the
you know,
middle
we,
of a whole
just
other
tell
thing,
them no.
just
Was that what it was? You
Yeah.
couldn't just hear, so okay, safe.
yeah. Fuck yeah, that's brilliant. Love you, Tina. Yeah, city design in general like that gets fucked. People don't think in terms of this is how
Future.
we collectively make better action. They think in
Yeah.
terms of like, I want to live somewhere nice that's an hour out from where I work, and
I
then
find
they
it
get complaining about it.
stupid when, like, I was saying to my mum, I said, you know, why do people live in Wainui? Because I live in Wainui. And why do they go to work in town?
Yeah.
And she's like, they can't afford a house in town. I said, yes, you can. You just have to find a smaller house. You know what I mean? I said, like, you're going to make way more money.
Yeah.
Like, way more money. You're going to be way more productive, because I studied, like, sleep. Well, not studied. I read a book from a dude who won, like, you know.
Basically study these
Exactly,
days.
exactly. And, you know, he was saying just how important sleep is.
Yep.
Like, I didn't understand that. Like, when I went to Scott's and I had to wake up at 6:30 every morning, and I went to sleep at 12, the impact that has on my learning
Yep.
was, like, incredible.
And on your mental health.
And on the
like,
mental health, yeah.
Just everything, like, it's such a discounted part of it.
On mental health, what are your thoughts on suicide?
I want to finish where we were with houses briefly, because that kind of comes to there. But one of the things around magic and these things too, right? So, Holloway Road, built in the 1800s, houses from the 1800s, built as low-income housing for dock workers, like port workers, sorry, not like Department of Conservation. And then those houses, because they're that old, have been protected, but things get added on top. So you get the power lines added on top that are way too close to the houses,
exactly.
coming right above where people sleep. And in every house there that I've had friends go crazy, like crazy enough to go to the mental ward, every bed that has housed that crazy person's head, right where the pillow is, there'll be a dip in the electromagnetic field of Earth. So usually we're at 0.6 microteslas. And you go to those spots and it dips to 0.4, or it goes up. So I see that as like decreasing resistance or increasing resistance slash energy that's at play.
Yeah.
So I legitimately would love to like sue the government for not taking our mental health into consideration,
Well,
or
New
things like
Zealand
that.
has one of the biggest problems with that period.
Yep.
Like,
Oh, that's even bigger too. That comes down to like separation. Like we say we're New Zealand, but you go to Christchurch, they're Christchurch. They're not New Zealand. You go to some of the small towns, it's like we're Patamahoe. We don't fuck with anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to like suicide, I think, to be honest, like when it comes to suicide, that's one where I've tried in the past, wasn't allowed to for some reason or another. See that as like universal intervention.
Yeah.
I think it's a sad occurrence when it happens, people feeling that there's no way out.
There's no exit, yeah.
Yeah, but on another side, I do feel kind of like not at peace about it, but if someone's going to take their life, then
there's a reason for that, and they probably they transcend in some way or another, you know, to
they get rid of their suffering.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
They go to a place where
and that's
I
a
hope
big
they
thing
get
to
greeted
talk
with
about as
love.
well. Like being physical is suffering, like
across the board.
Yeah, when you meditate, like the whole reason people meditate, it's first of all to get that mindfulness, but it's also like the longer stages of meditation. That's when you reach like that floating stage, and that's where you feel what it's like to not be physical.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's actually like it is better than any drug.
Yep.
Like, and when people say that, it's like floating in water, but you can't feel the water. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a float pod to me.
Well, that's exactly what it feels like. But you can reach those states at home. It just mental discipline. You know what I mean?
Not even necessarily mental discipline. I think some of it's like logistics. Like you teach people how to breathe right?
Yeah.
Like you can tell someone take a full breath of air, and you go, nah, not what I meant. You got to go, okay, let's go down to basics. Like Nico gave me a real good way to explain Wim Hof to people. It's not actually just like you got to go in 3 stages.
Let out less.
But like the 3 stages, you go into your head, and that way you can actually take it all in.
That. And then you let less in. It's about like getting your breath to a stage where you're using barely any breath. And that's what creates those, because the Wim Hof method, all those breathing techniques, that's a boost right to that meditative state just within 15 minutes.
Oh, sometimes even less.
Even
for me,
less,
like
exactly.
10, 15 seconds into it, and I'm like,
Yo, yeah.
am I gonna like? It's basically like on the level of like some intense trips I've had where you're sitting there and you're like in the start and you're like, do I let go? Do I go with the
Yeah,
trip?
exactly.
And then
Exactly.
sometimes your body starts cooling down or something. That's one that gets me about it.
Like
It's
cooling
like,
down, heating up, cooling down.
yeah, for me it's just a cool down, like similar to Nang's. Like I do the breath work and then I just feel like the not in the sense of like you're actually cold and your extremities are taking the blood away from them, but yeah, like my whole body just starts freezing almost. And that's the like honestly one of the only things that stops me from continuing for an extended period of time is like, yeah, I guess it's from the wrong sense. It's like connecting more, but I see it as like the process of disconnection. If I just kept going, that I'd over oxygenate and can you die from over oxygenation?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I know you can die from like too much carbon. What's
Carbon
the name?
dioxide, yeah.
That's what we exhale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just making sure. Been a while since I went to school, so.
I think maybe actually part of it might be we could die from over oxygenation if we over carbonated it as well. Because the only thing that triggers the breath reflex is a buildup of carbon dioxide in our lungs. So that's why if you hold your breath for ages right now, it will fill up and then you go, because your body's gone, hey, we're full in here, like clear it, replace it.
You're going to pass out soon, yeah.
But if the ratio is different, like the Wim Hof method, where you over-oxygenate your blood and then fill it up with CO2 again, maybe the ratio would be off and you'd just be able to hold your breath past the point of feeling the gasp reflex.
Yeah. That's that whole like, and it is very similar with meditation as well, like, because when you meditate, initially it's, and eventually it ends up being, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what it ends up being. And because the exhale and the inhale should be exactly the same, you know what I mean? And they need to be, there shouldn't be a disconnect when you start to inhale. It's one movement, and then it goes, and then it comes, and it's like, it's reaching that state of like just coming in and out of that breath. And like, I know it's just an interesting thing. And if people tried that, like, because I used to have anxiety as well, and I heard people say like they become friends with their anxiety when they start meditating, and I was like, oh yeah, that seems interesting. And then you lose anxiety.
Yeah.
And people don't actually understand like what that feels like. Like anxiety is a natural response that's required. Like, except back in the day, it was like you'd be anxious when it's dark and you see eyes in the bush. Now it's anxious because you can't afford to pay your bills.
Anxiety, depression, and what's the other one? Anxiety, depression, and stress.
Yeah.
These are three things that I've realized all have really valuable places in our lives, but the way that we've been taught how to live now is what disconnects us from that
Because they
purpose.
spur so quickly now. Back in the day, it was very rare that you would get anxiety because it is that bills thing. Like, people get anxious because they can't afford
It's
to pay, or
future
they
thinking
can't
in my
afford
head,
to,
It's
where is my
like-
life going? What have I done? You know what I mean? But you shouldn't be thinking that, like.
That's where they both come from, I think. Like, depression and anxiety, you're talking about past living, future living.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I'm depressed, it
Anxiety's
means I'm living in the moment
future.
when I got broken up with 2 years
the
ago.
past, yeah,
And
exactly.
then anxiety is me worrying about
Worrying about
paying
the
rent
future.
on what?
On
It's-
Monday or something.
Yeah, it was Monday this time. Had some real anxieties around that. First time I've had anxiety in like a while, because I've been living without most fear and without most anxiety for the last year at least.
And I feel like that van is probably a heavy reason for that. Like,
I reckon everyone should at some point take a year off, live in a van, so they know the worst it gets
So-
is actually the best it's ever been.
yeah. Because it makes you appreciate. It's like, I go outdoors, bro, and I love camping, and people find that really weird. They're like, bro, you enjoy your camping? Like, why don't you just get on the piss in town? You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, you don't understand like the feeling you get when you go camping.
Yeah.
Because camping, it sets goals. The first goal, make it to the campsite. The second goal, set up campsite. The third goal is set up a fire.
But
cook
even the
meals,
reward
like-
structures that you're getting, because being outside, people don't realize you go outside for a week when it's sunny, you're basically having an acid trip. Like, the chemicals that are released in your brain through sunlight are the same chemicals that acid's replacing.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I'm trying to pitch healthy living to our generation.
Yeah.
It's like, you do MDMA every weekend? How about you try cacao, motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, you do
And-
this?
and-
How about go outside?
Yeah, exactly. And on the talk of MDMA, bro, people don't understand the long-term consequences. If you heavily abuse MDMA, you cannot feel love.
Yeah.
Like
Same with meth addiction. People need to have
that's
a
that's
premise on
dopamine, eh?
Yep.
So nothing will ever feel as good, because I know a few people who went through that.
Serotonin
and-
syndrome too with
yeah,
some
exactly.
of these things.
People who just can't feel love, and also people who like, they can't have sexual relationships because meth fucked that for them.
Oh yeah,
There's
MD
nothing
dicks is a
stronger.
big thing.
You
Yeah.
know, like
I feel like drugs are very fucked up.
Yeah.
Very touchy subject, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like that businessman and a fucking pill or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, when you take that pill or when you smoke that cone, you feel like you've completed college and you've completed uni and you've just been thrown into a fucking 200k a year job. You know what I mean? That's the feeling of drugs for me personally. And
Especially
that's why I
yeah.
get so hooked on that shit. Meth, marijuana releases around 75% of dopamine, an increase in your body, what's already been released. But meth is like something crazy.
it
like
releases all
200%,
of
Fries your
100%,
dopamine for 7 years.
Yeah, exactly.
drains you. So that when you get off that shit, all you want is that, because
Yeah,
that's that
exactly.
feeling, you know. And then that's that.
And then
business
even
man,
then
that's
you
so-
can only go back
Yeah.
to like a portion of the peak that you ever once reached.
100%, 100%.
And then you get into like the length of that addiction. Like,
Yeah.
smokers
7
who-
years is a long time
Exactly.
to not feel love.
and it's like, smokers like, for example, I could smoke cigarettes for an entire year, and it'll probably take me a month or two, maybe half a year,
At least
to
21
get rid
days
of,
to
to
kick
get
a
rid
habit.
of just the cravings. But if you've been smoking for 40, it's probably going to take you 20 years. You know what I mean?
I think it's this, like, in terms of smoking cigarettes, I think it's the same, but part of the problem people get is the sunken cost fallacy. They get to having smoked for 40 years, and they'll spend 19 of those years making excuses for why they haven't given up yet. And then they'll spend 21 days actually giving up in the 20th year.
Yeah.
And it just took all that build-up time,
yeah.
eh?
And it's because it's the admittance things, and that's the same with depression as well, admitting.
Yeah.
Like, the first step, if you say, I am depressed, and you say that to somebody, I am depressed, that is the first step, and it generally goes up from there. Like, it generally does. But if you bottle it in,
It's getting past the
and it just
denial
gets
stage.
harder and harder, and that's when suicide occurs. When it's been 10 years and you have felt alone those
Yeah.
entire 10 years. If you caught it on the first year, it probably,
It's a
could
big
probably
bubble
go
to
up.
pop then too, because
Exactly.
like people
It's
get used to
far more
spending
difficult
time with
than-
it and like being like, this is
Exactly.
my friend depression. Like
Yeah,
we've been showing up to
exactly.
gigs for 10 years together.
Exactly.
One of the other things with drugs as well, people don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like anyone who takes more than one cap of MDMA on a night out, like there's a bit of room in there. Like if you're a big boy, maybe you need
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
But there's a like mathematical formula to figure out
How much you need.
Yeah,
And how
like,
much it means that you are building too much of a tolerance.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're popping 3 caps just to feel something, like, that's permanent damage right there.
I really need to spend a day to sort out the cooking.
Know what that is?
Yeah.
That's your cables.
That's
So
what
you need something called a balanced cable.
balance
A
cable.
balanced cable. So pretty much you have
Is it
your
like
positive, your negative, and then you have sort of like an earth going in between, even though negative is earth, but and it reverses the polarity or the phase so that they don't create noise. It cancels all the noise that electricity makes.
We definitely need that.
They're
'cause,
expensive. Just keep that in mind.
USB Type A cables are fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's for printers. That's not
yeah,
for music.
yeah, exactly.
Like where's
Guess how much I
USB-C on the
dropped
back of these?
recently on 2 cables, bro?
$1,500.
Yep, no, 100. But
Okay,
100
I was
for,
thinking like
100
what
for 2
happens when people
cables,
get
man.
way too into having a vinyl player and like
Yeah,
really
well, hi-fi,
fancy shit.
hi-fi. Like people get electricians in to make sure that their power doesn't make noise.
That's
They run
buzzy, yeah.
everything. Like, and hi-fi is endless, bro. It's a very, very deep.
This is bothering me, but I fully reckon suicide and everything, drug problems. If you have a problem, the first person you need to admit that to is yourself,
Yeah, for
definitely,
sure, bro.
and that's where you make the jump to actually, feeling happy again and,
Yeah, yeah.
and being better. And that goes for everything, as I started with, like depression, drugs.
Yeah.
If you have depression, you got to tell yourself that shit, and you got to mean it at the same time. And
Write
from
it
that
down,
point,
you
when
know
you're at
what I
rock
mean?
bottom, the only way is up.
Yeah.
So it's no longer a wave that you're riding. You've fucking come to terms with it. You need to push yourself through that shit. Especially with drugs, depression, literally the two main things in my life that have fucked me up, influenced me to become a musician, the person I am currently.
Pain often creates art.
Trauma brings maturity. Trauma opens up the mind. Trauma does amazing things to the human. And some people, sadly, will never know that side of life.
But also, hopefully, in a happy way. Like, hopefully, we reach it next generation or generation after, where we can provide a platform where people don't have to go through trauma to get their artistry.
100%.
They get to keep their artistry that they had when
and
they
find
were
it
5.
through positivity. You know,
Yeah.
It's that whole yin and yang. Like, you can create art from those dark stages, and it's very easy to create art from those dark stages. But you can also create art from the positivity and the positive stages. It's just a lot harder.
It's like living through fear and living through love.
Yeah.
Something that comes back to both of those is Rat Park for me. So when we're talking about drug addictions and depression or anxiety, we're often talking about a crutch that's involved in the situation. So like me using weed, that's a dopamine crutch that fills the gap that I have by not having someone to hug or be in a relationship with.
I feel you, yeah.
But also that's where some of the traps form, like you were saying about you feel like you just dropped that 200k a year job, or like you just got that thing. It's because our reward structures are linked so closely with that. Like,
Capitalism, you know?
Yeah, or like even like biologically, right? Like us sitting down here right now gives us probably like dopamine and serotonin. Serotonin because we feel it's important, dopamine because we're having human connection. But when you replace those reward structures, like the reason people go into a sesh dungeon and have cones and then say, all right, I'm about to head out, is because you've already got that dopamine from that human interaction you didn't have. So like me smoking a cone right now would mean that I'd probably just sit here and wouldn't say anything.
Exactly.
Already got all the dopamine I need from
Yeah.
saying things. And same when people talk too much. This is one thing I realized late last year is like when someone's all talk and no walk, that's why, is because they're saying, oh, when I live in this big fancy mansion, it's going to be so great, and they're already getting that reward.
They're living it, yeah.
And they're
In
living
their
it
mind,
too much, yeah.
But you need to bring that over to like the doing, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
But have you
reality,
seen
really.
Rat Park with these things?
You must act what you
What's-
talk on.
yeah,
It's the only
exactly.
way to actually achieve and succeed.
Yeah.
But in
And it
some
all
ways
starts from an
too,
idea, and
You got to test things out by thinking them through too. Like
100%.
there needs to be more people thinking and doing, but also more people not doing without thinking.
Yeah, it's
We're
like,
given a virtual world to test everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do feel that's where some of the best creation does happen, though. Like with what you just said, applied to artists, people of my nature, Callum, you, 100%. I feel that. Oh fuck, bro.
I often see people come out of depression, and
My actual brain,
there's a saying for it, which is, looks like depression's treated you well. And that's when you see someone after they've been gone for 3 months, been in the depths, and then they come back out with the biggest smile, go, we're all gods, guys, we can fucking do
yeah,
this.
exactly.
You can only grow from it. You can only grow from it.
Exactly.
If you let yourself. I've
Yeah,
seen a lot of people
exactly,
just
exactly.
say, I'm stuck, and they never go past that first stage. They do say, I'm depressed, but they never say, I'm depressed and I'm depressed, but.
But I'm going to make it better. You know what I mean? But I'm going to work towards being a better person and being more positive. And that's the same with like everything, you know, like, you know, I want to be a millionaire, but like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, how are you
Like,
going to get there?
Yeah.
You know, go start up some failed businesses, bro. And this is one thing
Right,
that
500
is
failed
the cap
businesses
culture,
first.
bro. The cap culture in Wellington, I hate that.
Cap
People
culture?
saying like, oh, they're capping. You know what I mean? Like,
You need to explain that to me.
so
I'm,
capping is like, pretty much I say like, you know,
That's
I
cap.
get like 1,000 plays within an hour, and I don't. You know what I mean?
So it's like fake
I'm like
clout?
real big, and I act like I'm huge, but I'm not.
Oh, so
if you know
basically
what I mean?
just like having
But-
taken MDMA without having taken MDMA.
MDMA, exactly. But that's capping. But then there's also people who are like, oh, you know that dude, he's fully capping. But then I say to them, yeah, but he's actually doing something. And they're like, he doesn't make any money off his gigs. And I was like, yeah, but he hosted a gig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think Wellington, bro, that has got like this capping, like it's just, you know it, like this cap culture, bro.
So-
and it's just come in so heavy, bro.
So many people cap on the daily. It is bullshit. They can't be true to themselves. Can't be true to anyone else. Not even in their own friend circle.
See, that's where we get into
No Cat Wellington, bro. No Cat Wellington. ASAP.
Seriously need it. No cap. No fucking cap, guys. Because, like, people are way too clicky here. Like,
Yeah,
there's
I hate
people
that,
who
bro.
are all cap, all click.
Yeah.
And, like, they'll be like, oh, yeah, with this fucking great rock band or something. It's like, yeah, but you're only hanging out with the same 5 people, and then all your parties
Not
are the same
expanding,
people,
yeah.
all to service your fucking ego. And
You're
it's
all
like,
the yes men, eh?
yeah, oh,
It's like
fuck me.
like Lil Peep, bro.
Yep.
One of the big reasons as to why he died was probably due to fake people being around him so that they can say yes. and just
MacNed
live
killed
off
Lil Peep. MacNed is the reason behind Lil Peep's death. MacNed is a fuckwit. He got invited on tour with Peep. This was his.
Oh, is he one of those cunts who goes, oh yeah, that looks like some real good shit, bro? It has all these green things in it. It's like, it's not
it.
meant
Has
to be
no
that
idea,
colour.
yeah.
Basically, when Pete moved from Schema to GBC, MacNed, Fishnut, Horsehead, if you know those guys, you know them. When he moved to GBC, he was seen as that kind of that star in the group in a way, you know. And what had happened is over time, Pete found himself like literally housing these people, feeding them his money, like through drugs and
Doing everything
food
for
and
them.
clothes, doing everything for them. They were leeching off him, and Pete fucked off to London. He did his own thing. He went out and he met Bexy.
And then Bexy gets blamed, bro. And
100%.
If you listen to
100%.
Bexy, there is no way a human being with those like philosophical thoughts would ever do Peep like that. There is no way,
Bexy
bro.
is nuts.
It
MacNed
torments him.
fake cunt. He's from like one of those fucking suburbs out in the Bronx, like Chicago, fucking New York ways. I got no idea where he's from, but he's just one of those cunts. Like he's fucked up. Basically, what had happened, behind Peep's death, basically, a fan had given him some drugs, and it was
Laced
actually
with fen.
Xanax laced with
Fentanyl.
fentanyl or whatever. It's
The
like a
whole
microdose
fucking
of that shit can
opiate
actually kill
thing.
you. And
All made by one
100%, like,
company too.
I have the video on my phone. Take a second.
Yeah.
I'm about to show you guys. Pretty fucked up. You guys carry
The
on.
whole opiates thing really fucked me up, eh? Like, that's part of what made me go crazy a couple years ago.
And it all stems from one company. That's what people don't know.
Yeah.
One family, bro.
Yeah, no.
They created oxycodone, right?
And they do all the fake marketing. They go, we
Yeah.
just invented something that's non-addictive. It's
Yeah.
like, didn't
And then
all of
10
your
years
shit
later,
do
it's the
the
most
thing?
addictive thing.
Yeah.
And the problem is, like, people don't understand, like, your doctors, the things they prescribed you, they're paid to do that. They get a commission, like,
Hopefully
less here, but it's
yeah,
still prevalent. Like,
sales
prevalent.
reps are a huge problem going around. and
Exactly.
being like,
America's
"You need
even
this
worse,
drug."
though.
Yeah,
But that-
America,
but-
they can advertise to the people.
Yeah.
So that people show up to the doctor saying, hey, can you give me
me this, yeah.
It's like, you're not the fucking medical
Yeah,
professional.
like I saw this thing that like foreigners find weird about America, and that is like, yeah, like showing the side effects on an advertisement for a drug. We do not do that over here.
Yeah.
You have to find that out yourself.
Yeah. And some of them, they won't even let you find out.
Like
It's
imagine
you
if
just get them.
there's a drug advertisement, bro, and it's like, you know, side effects of this: euphoria, dopamine. What are you really trying to do?
What
there,
drug
you
is
know?
this?
Yeah, I mean euphoria, and that's probably codeine, and that isn't that. I've never tried an
true.
opiate, but
Yeah, me, or aside from medically, I've never fucked with opiates. Opiates were probably my first drug medically when I was a kid and broke my leg.
yeah.
And broke my
Were
arm
you on
and all these
private,
things.
like private
Yeah, I had some surgery on my hands when I was a kid. That
health insurance, or
yeah.
okay, that's why you got those drugs there.
Oh no, but the other one was
like-
like straight hospital, broke my leg at
Yeah,
school,
yeah, that's-
and they
I guess-
showed up with a drip and nags. I was like, fuck, didn't know what I was in for. Everyone was clowns. It was great.
Yeah,
But,
Nang's pretty safe though. You know,
Like
it's
nags
a-
and then a morphine drip. It was fucked.
yeah.
Um,
But then again, like morphine's like, because morphine metabolizes into something, into your body. I don't know what it is. I'm not a chemist, but like heroin,
metabolizes
it's already metabolized. Like it's
oh
already
yeah, so morphine metabolizes into like,
not heroin, but whatever is the
Opiate.
core. Yeah,
whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly. And
but
it's
yeah,
like-
the SoundCloud scene really fucked up New Zealand with that,
because
like,
now it's been brought over here because it's like cool. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
It was never cool though. Like
Drugs
I
aren't
literally
cool.
cried to my friends, being like, "Why are you drinking poppy tea?
Yeah.
Why are you doing these things? Do you not see the path that's going to lead you down?" And they went, "It's just poppy tea, bro. It's just a fucking fun time." And now it's been like a year or two, and I look at some of these friends on Instagram because they don't hang out anymore. They don't stay in the circles, and you got cunts who are saying, "Yeah, bro, it's just a fun time," and then taking Xans and show up like to their house when they're on Xans, and they're all in like slow motion.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah. Real groggy, and have no goals, aspirations.
Yeah. Next day you come round and go, "Guys, I came round last night." And they go, "No, you didn't. Don't fucking lie to me, bro." And it's like, I was here. I
That's
talked
the
to all
Xans,
of you.
That's the. I've never seen somebody on Xans.
And then now they're on harder. They're all fucking injecting or shit. And I hate hearing it from people when they're like, "Bro, I just got clean," and it's like, okay, like I'm done actually being supportive when people tell me that over Instagram now. So if you send me a message saying, "Bro, I just gave up all the opiates," you don't get a reply until 14 days later, and I check in again.
Yeah, exactly, because that is somewhat of an attention-seeking statement.
And they attention seek for it, go, "Oh, cool, the bros are still talking to me," and then go even deeper, and it's like, mate, I'm only talking to you because it looked like you were making progress.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's actually like similar with some people who are depressed, because I was, this is something, I don't know if it's true, and I don't know how well this will come off to people, but like people who are depressed and constantly post about it, I just feel like, because I've been depressed I think like twice in my life, and it was for 2 weeks both times, just 2 weeks of like really lost and just not really knowing what I want to do. Like, should I be an artist? What am I doing? You know what I mean?
Shit,
and then you realize it's, you're living the life, every day you make music, that's sick, but it's like, then there's people who post on Facebook like, I'm so depressed, I'm going to like jump off this building or something like that.
That's one where I feel like you deserve a slap in the face, because we can't turn off as soon as you say that. Like,
I have to check up on you.
Yeah, there's no way that you can hear someone say, "I'm going to kill myself," and not go, "Okay, what's going on in your life?"
Exactly.
But if you're using that as a way to start a conversation, fuck you.
Because that's happened to me, bro.
Yeah,
someone
same.
said it and I called him.
That just about made me want to kill myself, going out of my way to pick someone up when they told me that while I was stoned. I said before that time, I don't want to drive high. He calls me being like, "I'm going to jump on the fucking train tracks." I'm like, "Fuck you, where are you? I'm breaking my rules."
Yeah.
That led to like 3 days of no sleep, me like supporting him, giving him things to try and keep him alive.
And it was never real.
Yep, and then I ended up fucking out, having a mental breakdown and coming to Wellington with it.
Yeah.
But like one of these things that always comes back, same with drug addiction, same with depression, is Rat Park, which is the experiment they did in the 70s, maybe 60s, which was like normal experiment, addiction experiment.
With rats, eh?
Yeah, you put a rat in a cage with cocaine and water and food.
Yeah, and they choose the cocaine.
Yeah, they go cocaine every time. You put them in an environment where they've got things to play with, friends to hang out with, cocaine and food. 2% will go with cocaine, and the rest will go with food and rehabilitation. And they saw the same with Vietnam. People over there were using heroin to crutch themselves and fill that hole that they were missing. Yeah, like they're in a foreign land, people are shooting at them, they're getting yelled at every day, no one's sure what's going on. It's cold, it's wet, you're getting bitten, you're fucked off, you're lonely, and you're sad.
And you find this one thing that gets rid of all of that,
and it's everywhere, and everyone's doing it, and it's
that's
just normal.
That's here. People don't realize that. Like, I grew up in the hood, right, in Wainui, and it's like, that's what you see. You see people turning to meth and all that
because the disconnections are coming.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, I have some mates who are like, "Why don't they just get a job?" And I'm just like, bro, have you just before you even think about saying that, like, imagine seeing like violence every day. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't find this video, but violence is fucked up.
Hard, bro. And it's just like, it just breeds violence. Like, you're constantly seeing people hooked on drugs. You're constantly seeing violence.
It's hard when you're born in that environment.
It's definitely a chain reaction through your actual family ladder until you do give birth or have that person in your family that wants better and can see better. Amazing man in the world in my eyes. When he gave birth to my mum gave birth. When my mother and my dad had my oldest brother Dion Grace, shout out Dion James Grace on Instagram, sexiest human you'll ever see in your life, straight up, not being vain. When they had him, they completely dropped drugs and alcohol, and they haven't been on that shit since. And I just take my hat off to them, because to have 8 more children after that, that's fucked up. No one does that shit.
Yeah.
That's where the change happened, because his mother fuck knows what she was up to, but from my stories I heard of that man, he was stuck in the car while she was in the pub and shit. Like, he'd bike himself to church, blah, 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 blah. Didn't have the parent that was supportive in that time, in that section of life for him. But he took that and he spun it around. And, you know, he kept taking himself to church. He kept trying to be that better person. And he did not get gang affiliated. He did not get into drugs. He was a DJ and he was in the Navy for 8 years. But fuck, I just give it to him. I give it to him mad. He's one person that happens to be my father that I've seen overcome the worst.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
He stepped away from violence, and that's the hardest thing to do in your life.
It's also a big move to show the next generation that that's what needs to happen.
Exactly.
100%.
And I've had heaps of conversations with DJ about this, and it is like a, you know,
very touchy, private subject.
But also having kids, you know, it gives you that.
It's all good.
You know, you kind of no longer, as you were saying, like there's not that hole anymore. Like, you've got someone that is gonna love you first of all unconditionally.
I think it's that passion of the mind, passion of the heart, passion of the soul. Because when you get kids, you get all of them all at once.
Yeah.
Like, same thing, or like, I think of it in terms of, like, for me, it's having a job that I enjoy doing, having a partner that I enjoy being with, and having something to think about. And after you get through those, like, most of the alienations are gone. Like, that's the only part of Marxism that I ever really bring up. It's the 4 alienations. And we see them everywhere. Like, I see them in Pukekohe, where I'm from, up in Auckland. There's a place literally called the Dark Side. I didn't realize how racist that fully was until real recently. I always kind of had in the back of my mind, like, why is it called that? And it's called that because it's racist. They put all the low-income people in a certain area, and then immediately, right, you're in a place where internet isn't a commonplace thing. You go to someone's house, you go, what's your internet? They go, no, we're on mobile. I ran out of mobile internet.
Same exact deal with streetlights. I think it was very disrespectful to turn off streetlights in lower income rated areas earlier. That's like bullshit. It happens in Wainuiomata every single day. And it's
so dangerous, bro. Because Wainuiomata gets the heaviest mist you'll ever see in your life. No cap, bro. It's like, we took a video of DJ's car. It looks like it's moving, bro. But it's just mist. You actually can't see anything, bro.
Everywhere. And to think of the, like, fuck, I love Wainui. I love its culture. I love people that are there. That's awesome. Everyone gets stereotyped in the wrong way because there are some bad people there. Those bad people, though, are the people that drive Subaru Legacies on crack with the street lights off at that hour. Fucked up, bro. Like, we need to do something about that shit ASAP.
But those bad people are everywhere. We can't keep, like, stigmatizing an entire area.
Humans are the only animal that can inflict suffering for the sake of suffering, and that's something people need to realize. Like, this racism thing that's happened as well. We will never, sadly, it's a really shit thing, but we will never obliterate racism. We will never obliterate hate.
I think we can, get close, but we have to really appreciate everyone.
Everyone is always going to be opinionated.
Yeah.
But we can change what they're opinionated about.
Exactly, but like,
I feel the only way we can change this shit is if something like COVID comes in, wipes out all the old people, and we only have the younger generation to teach.
We need COVID, but with no internet.
Exactly.
Because everyone got through COVID by watching Netflix, and all the rich people are actually the best off in that situation. Because they get to sit in their ivory towers with all their money and be like, look at these poor people who can't afford food. And that's not a problem for me. I've got infinite toilet paper. And it's like, they're disconnected from the real struggles that are going on.
Exactly.
What are you guys' thoughts on generational trauma?
Always got to be appreciative of what you have.
Yeah, exactly, bro. That's mindfulness.
You can't let that slip. You can't let that slip, because like sometimes I'll be in the shower and I'll like cup a handful of like water and let it fall from my body down, and I'll just release it and I'll be like, fuck, that could have gone to an African child, or that could have gone to someone who actually needs it, you know?
Bro,
that shit fucks with my head, and that's
our toilet water is drinkable.
100%. Yep. 100%. And that's bullshit. Literally.
Japan, what you do, you go toilet, you probably know this, you wash your hands on top of the toilet, and the water that you washed your hands with flushes the toilet.
Even showers, there's technology that exists right now that you can get that... No, not even recycles, just puts a little bubble of air in the middle of every droplet of water. Because 80% of that water is wasted, because you're only getting like the hit and then it's gone. Yeah. So
and then also onto like van life.
Fucking showers, bro. Can't go a day without
all right, later, boys.
Every 15 minutes, hey, just gotta pop off to the shower, bro.
especially when you have a girlfriend. I don't think it is an option not showering. Like, honestly, I'm a guy, and I'm pretty sure every guy has been here. Like, you'd go a couple of days without showering, right?
Oh,
and you just
fucking
chill out a
oath,
bit.
I think it's actually my favorite thing when I'm not in a relationship is I just go filth. It's
You-
like
you
you
can
get
do what
broken
you
up
want,
with.
you know?
Yeah, day one I'm like beaming.
That's
I'm
why
like,
I love
I'm disgusted.
camping, bro. That's why I love camping. It's a week. You
Yeah.
have a week trip and you do not shower once, and everyone on the trail hasn't showered, and they're
Yeah.
all just like, I can't smell you, you can't smell me. Like,
I love the
and it's just like this
communities,
mutual like.
the river smell is the smell of I just got wet this morning. There's no cleaning done in there.
But
generational
Generational trauma. Oh yeah.
hygiene's a bit of a problem though in New Zealand, 100%. Some of the people you see walking on the street, you can smell them 10 metres away.
Hygiene is
drugs.
actually
No, but 100%. Yeah.
a separate topic. I think hygiene to me comes back to this thing I saw about Greek literature. Hygiene stemmed from this. So you've got like the Pentagon. It's actually the like well rationed, like well balanced human.
Oh,
So you've
right.
got balancing of fire, water, earth, and air, and then spirit as well. So
also
when they're all
chakras
balanced,
all plays into the all very similar concepts.
I think that's like hygiene of the soul to some
soul,
level.
yeah.
This is like hygiene of the
Self.
vessel.
Yeah.
It's like make
That's
sure you
exactly
wash, make
the
sure you
vessel,
keep your
yeah.
fire burning, make sure you like eat.
You'll be so happy if
It's
you get into the
definitely-
routine of brushing your teeth morning, brushing your teeth at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
not
like
not
recently,
gonna say
bro,
that's
like-
a routine that I haven't been on for fucking like since I was a kid. Honestly, like I've got some questions for my mum tomorrow. Is like, why did you let me not brush my teeth? Why did you let me not make my bed? Like, yeah, I didn't want to do these things, but I was a kid. I didn't know what I
Yeah,
should
yeah.
have been doing.
Bro, speaking of making the bed, I make my bed every morning.
One of the
and
best things to
It is
do,
one of the
eh?
best things. You can no longer use that bed for sleep.
Yeah, or
Or
you can, but then you like
have
going
to
backwards
unmake
in the
your
day.
bed, and
yeah,
you
yeah.
just made it.
I feel that having a clean space is
Yeah, bro.
very
Always-
crucial
my
to having
studio, bro,
clean creation.
Always has to be minimal, but
That's an outer representation of our internal state, though,
even
right?
even
Yeah.
if you're in your thoughts, you'll notice that if your room's messy, you'll fuck with yourself even more. But if it's clean, you'll manage to find a way out of that headspace. And it's weird because
That's a-
maybe
as
that
opposed to
applies to
environment
me.
as well, eh?
But
Environment,
environment, habitat, where you are, you must feel comfortable to be okay. You know, and
discipline is the balance between like your mental discipline and also the
100%.
environments you put yourself in. Like, I don't play in the studio.
Yeah.
The studio is music and only music.
Well, music is business in my eyes
Yeah.
because eventually one day it will make me all my money I've ever wanted
Exactly.
and needed. But that's the thing, like, it's a reward of it, and discipline definitely gets you there.
Yeah, because it is discipline.
If you can't push yourself, and with skating, I feel resilience is a huge thing in that. It's basically the bricks of the culture itself getting back up, because that's the only way you learn 100%, and discipline, where that comes into play, that is where you get back up and where you push yourself 100%. And if I didn't have music, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably
Yeah,
be one of these
exactly.
people that we're talking about.
Yeah,
like, in
same.
a way.
Finding another way.
You got
to-
that passion of the
Maybe
mind,
not
though.
music in general. I feel, yes, it's a passion that pushes it. It's
Yeah, but
because
that's what I was
I've
going to say. What do you
pursued it
guys
my whole
think
life,
about
but-
passion is true resilience? Like, I was always taught in school, like, be resilient, get back up. But they were teaching me to do that in maths. And I don't like maths.
I feel like
So I did get back up, but it didn't make me happy.
Yeah.
I didn't feel accomplished when I got that excellence.
Yeah.
if you're adamant to that passion, if you endure with that passion and you show that to yourself before you show it to anyone else, that's when you know you have that discipline
Exactly.
for that certain thing. That's
I
how
think
you,
I think that's true resilience.
Yeah,
Like, if my
100%.
track doesn't do well, I'll make my next track better.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something I like about my music as well. Is like I released my first ever track, and it wasn't that good. But if you compare it to my latest track, you can see growth, and I think that's just a beautiful thing for me.
I
can
think
see
even as an audience member, that's something I'm incredibly grateful for. Like any acts that are around, like there's a few that I'm not going to name drop, but there are a couple acts around Wellington that pull this cap thing of like, the first drop I ever do is going to be the big drop. And it's like, oh, that's
just waiting for the right song.
Yeah, or like just waiting to record this album, and then like we drop that first album when it's perfect, and it's like, bro, you don't
First of all,
realize how
nothing
this
will be
works.
perfect. Like, I have found
It will never be perfect,
Don't-
but you've also just disqualified everyone who likes your music at the moment from getting a chance to support you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I can't listen to you on Spotify or YouTube or
don't
somewhere
have
where you
content
make money
out.
off it,
Yeah.
then yeah, I'm not going to stay a fan for a long time
Yeah.
because I've got to go see you at the live
Consistency, yeah.
gigs to hear that music. And if you're just recycling the album at the live gigs, stop doing live gigs for a month. Go record.
Yeah.
Come out with some new shit. Like,
Yeah.
there's genuine ability to progress, and like, yeah, nothing's ever going to be perfect. So put out the things that aren't perfect first.
Yeah.
Make those 500 shitty words and make them public.
Exactly, bro. And it just pushes you to do better. And it's like also striving for perfection. It never happens. You know, I used to strive for perfection, and now I realize it's better to get that track to 97% and scrap that 3%, because the 3% takes as long as the entire 97% took.
Yeah.
Move on to the next project and implement the things you wanted to do in that.
There's a really interesting rule that applies of like 70-30. So it says like 30% of the workforce is going to do 70% of the work. And yeah, like 70% of the work is going to take 30% of the time, and then 30% of the work is going to take 70% of the time.
Yeah.
And it always comes back around. Like you see that in the office environments. Anyone who comes up to you and goes, I fucking carry this office, chances are they're right.
Yeah.
And no one else is actually willing to accept that they're the 30% that don't pull their weight.
And they will not get any. They will not get anything more back because they do more, because that's the way the system is built. You know what I mean? Because like.
And then when you stop being that person, like when jobs I've had before, it's like I'm providing 70% of the effort in this thing. I try to go down to 50, and now people go, hey, where's that effort that we used to?
And that's the same with, I was talking to someone yesterday about engineering, and I was talking about how I was going to charge 20 for a mix, 20 for a master. And he said, do not undersell your engineering, because people are going to think you're going to give them $20 worth, you know, give them a cheap deal, even when you're way better than that. You know what I mean? You gave him $20, you know? Like you gave it to him for $20. So
even as a concept for me with other people putting their skills to monetarily use, I reckon we all start at 100, work our way down rather than working our way up from 20, 25. Because like more and more as I'm working too, I realize like I'm always undervaluing myself. Like last time I put a price together, I said, yeah, pay me $45 an hour and we'll see what happens. And they were like,
but you could have charged at 80.
Yeah, no, they came back and said, we're charging 85 for you.
That's what happened to me yesterday. I was engineering someone, and he's like, oh, how much do you want me to pay for this? And I was like, bro, first of all, you've already bought me 2 boxes of beer. You've got me fucking, like, you gave me weed, you gave me $15, you gave me half a pack of cigarettes, and you're still wanting to charge. And I was like, do it for 20. And he's like, no, bro. He said, you know, you're a musician, you're an engineer, and I appreciate that and how difficult it is. I'm going to give you 80.
Hell yeah.
So it's like, and that now I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't be charging 20. Because if
you've already got a readjustment to your price.
Yeah, exactly. If people are listening, coming out to my studio because of the quality, not because I'm giving them a cheap deal, because I gave them a quality mix, then, you know, I can use that as a, you know, I can show this mix, right, of this one that I'm doing at the moment. And I can say, like, this was $80. You know what I mean? And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that sounds like $80. But if I was like, that's 20, they're going to be like, yeah, do mine for 20. You know what I mean? And, like, you're just always going to be getting lower and lower. Like, you're
fighting yourself.
Being nice, but it's like, you know, sometimes you just have to balance that, you know? Being too nice it's not a good thing, you know? People hate people who are too nice.
Fair, it's a very backwards thing, eh?
Yeah,
like,
I watched a video on it. Like,
you can easily get taken for granted if you're too nice.
And that's like, you know, that's something I find difficult to, you know, like with mates, if I'm constantly like, oh, yo, let's hang out, yo, this is awesome, blah, 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 you're doing this so great, then they stop hanging out with you, which is a weird thing, you know what I mean? So you got to have that balance of like, I
do find it very weird that people hate dickheads, but also really like dickheads. Like, you see that in like girls dating guys too. Oh, I hate all these dickheads I keep ending up with. Hang out with a nice guy for a while. Nah.
It's that like giving attention, but not too much. You know what I mean? Like
it's negging, which is super fucked up. I think back on the topic of people paying artists for what they're worth, I think everyone should operate with the mentality of, if I enjoy this person's art or I really want to support them, I'll pay double or even 10 times what they ask.
Yeah, exactly.
So if someone tattoos me and does a really good job and then says, yeah, I want to pay $20, straight away it's like, no, I'm getting $40 for it. Just whenever someone offers you that, you offer them like, back more.
That piece of art there is worth so much more to you than they even think it is. You know what I mean? Like... But you know, I guess it's also a balance between like the interesting thing about labor. Like, oh, it took you 15 minutes to make that beat, so surely it's $20. But it's like, no, because it took me 2 years to be able to learn those skills
That's
to
the
make that beat in
Picasso
15
shit, eh?
minutes. It's like, you're not paying me for my labor, you're paying me for the time that I took to learn music theory, to learn how to mix, to pay for the gear in my studio.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like,
I'm learning that one
Just
real
like
recently.
a mechanic.
Yep.
Just like a
Exactly.
mechanic, like-
As a tech person, I'm definitely starting to put rules in place for when I bring shit to site.
Yeah.
So if I'm bringing $5,000 worth of tech equipment to a site where y'all are throwing rocks around, you're paying for anything if it breaks.
Exactly.
Even if I break it, like it's just like cost of me
Yeah.
working on something. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up now. Make way for the next space.
Sweet.
Thank you guys for coming
Yeah,
on.
no,
Thank
it's
you
a
for
great
talking.
time.
Enjoy that time.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Love to have you back.
Cheers,
talk
man.
some more shit.
For sure.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Let's get some magic, get some meditation,
Yeah.
all the good things. Oh yeah, wait. What channels can people find you guys on?
Instagram, Cwither, C_Wither. Facebook, Mr. Cwither.
Nice.
Hand out like that. There, we'll track it there.
Nice.
My Instagram, Purprayn, so that's just at PURPRAYN. Yeah, and just find my shit through there.
Nice. Awesome.
There we are.